Welcome back to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? We're looking at the state of emergency that Bashir, announced in Sudan in a hope to save his neck. But I seriously believe it's too little too late, and the revolution is already underway. I don't think it is stoppable. And you know what? Why I realize this? It's because, we're told in the political science, whatevers of this world, that if it's just the masses who are rebelling, rarely will they really be able to create any kind of regime change or any kind of revolution, because it will be stopped by the middle class. But once you see that middle class, they're the managers, the directors, the doctors, and the nurses, the engineers. Once you see them saying enough is enough, and even them downing their tools, they're the ones who really supervise the entire system. Once you see them join a revolution, they usually say it's a wrap for whoever the revolution is against. And that's what we're seeing in Sudan. You know what I was shocked about? Can you imagine that the protests are actually being organized by the Sudanese Professional Association, among other opposition leaders? And this fact alone has really caught the imagination of the international press. We've been seeing all kinds of headlines, doctors without weapons, fighting Bashir, etc. And there's been a lot that they're just stoking the fires with this, or how young doctors are challenging, the dictatorial rule of, Omar al-Bashir. So a lot of interesting, it's really captured the imagination. But what happened is, after the state of emergency was declared, further protests were held. In fact, protests were held that day because they knew, they had a feeling that, Bashir would actually announce a state of emergency. So what we're seeing now is that because the declaration was widely anticipated, the protests on the streets while he made his speech were crazy. And by the way, he was in military uniform while he made his speech, and then he's now just appointed another prime minister. Stories for other days. But we saw that, the protests actually increased, which is what the heads and the architects of this wanted. So the protests have actually increased. And now what Bashir said is, he invited the opposition for dialogue, and saying that he would, that he would support, them coming together for the sake of the nation, etc., blah, blah, blah. But the opposition has not bitten the bullet, and they have not done this. Because how can you be using live ammunition? You're going to people's houses, searching for the protesters door to door. And then next you're saying, in fact, come we meet at the presidential palace and discuss your grievances and the state of the nation. It's actually insane. Although he declares that he has extended a sincere invitation to the opposition forces who are still outside the path of national reconciliation. And he's asked them to move forward and engage in dialogue concerning the current issues affecting the country. How? You're intimidating me, you're killing my people, and then you want me to come and talk to you? It's not going to work. And especially after he's been criticizing them. He's been criticizing the movement since day one, saying he was there for the revolution, these guys were not there for the revolution, saying that you can't topple a government using WhatsApp and Twitter. So funny, and your mobile phones and social media, and really just taking the piss at young people. But the one thing that is still kind of holding Bashir in place is the fact that the military has said they will not allow the state of Sudan to collapse. And so it's very wise of Bashir to send senior military officials to kind of run different states, because then he kind of even cements the loyalty of the military. But we're going to have to keep a close eye on this story and see what really happens. What next? Will Bashir be able to survive? I bet there's bets out there on how long he'll make. Will he survive? Will he not survive? How long will he survive? But of course, we must realize that people are involved. Our young brothers and sisters of Sudan are risking their lives for their freedom, and this is going to become a growing trend across the continent. Bashir is trying to say that this is being funded by foreign oppressors who want to create an Arab Spring in Sudan, and this is the discernment we're going to use, is to make sure that any move move, any move towards kind of a revolution is a revolution that is ingrown and is controlled by the people and is not being done not being orchestrated by the West to put in place another puppet president, because the season of puppet presidents is over. May the Most High bless and keep you.